NATO creates a council with Ukraine to fast-track Kyiv's accession, but stops short of formally inviting it to join the military alliance.
Korea fires its first intercontinental ballistic missile in 3 months, days after accusing the US of alleged reconnaissance activity near its territory.
Not the outcome Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was hoping for. But NATO is walking a fine line between offering Kyiv a way forward without further angering Russia. So, not a formal invitation to join the alliance, but the creation of a new forum, the NATO-Ukraine Council, which will reduce the number of accession phases from 2 to 1.
This is a forum where Ukraine and NATO allies will meet as equals, hold crisis consultations and jointly take decisions. Ukraine is now closer to NATO than ever before. Allies reaffirmed that Ukraine will become a member of the alliance.
Just to add one sentence to the words of Secretary General, that what is very important about the Council, that it's not instrument of participation that is written there, that is the instrument of integration. And that's also give us such spirit that will be in NATO.
The summit also provided Zelensky with the opportunity to hold bilateral meetings with the German Chancellor and others. Berlin and the United States are the most opposed to Ukraine's fast-track integration. While Zelensky thanked NATO for its efforts, he did not hide his disappointment at its failure to formally invite his country to join the military alliance.
North Korea has fired a suspected intercontinental ballistic missile test in response to the alleged passage of a US spy plane near its territory. Authorities say the long-range missile flew for more than an hour before landing short of Japanese waters on Wednesday morning. The news, broadcast by North Korean public television, has put neighboring countries on high alert.
また先ほど日米韓の外務省局長級による電話協議を行ったところですが、政府としては国連安保理の場を含め、米国、韓国をはじめ、国際社会と緊密に連携して対応するとともに、国民の生命、財産を守り抜くため、引き続き情報の収集、分析及び警戒監視に全力を挙げてまいります。
It's been 3 months since the North Korean regime last conducted tests with an intercontinental missile. The projectile reached a maximum altitude of 6,000 kilometers before landing in international waters between the Korean peninsula and Japan.
The UN Security Council has failed to renew authorization of a vital cross-border aid delivery program for Syria. 2 rival resolutions were in turn vetoed by Russia on the one hand and the US, UK and France on the other. The programme had allowed for aid to be shipped overland from Turkey into rebel-held areas of Syria's northwest Idlib province via the Bab al-Hawa crossing. It now thrusts an estimated 4 million people in the country into an ever more dire situation as the country's civil war grinds on in its second decade.
Thousands of Israeli protesters have blocked the roads in country's main international airport in huge demonstrations against the government's plans to overhaul the judicial system. At least 70 people have been arrested. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's ultra-nationalist and ultra-Orthodox allies have proposed a series of bills that have provoked months of sustained protests by opponents who say the government is being pushed towards authoritarian rule.
אני מפגינה כבר למעלה מחצי שנה, כי הממשלה שלנו החליטה לשנות את הפנים של המדינה ולהפוך אותנו ממדינה דמוקרטית שמקבלת את כולם ודואגת לזכויות של כולם, למדינה לא שוויונית שדואגת אך ורק לאינטרסים האישיים של האנשים שנמצאים כרגע בשלטון.
יש פה ממשלה שפשוט בתחושה שלי לא סופרת את האזרחים שלה. חצי מהעם נקרא וזה פשוט כואב, זה פשוט כואב הלב מה שהם עושים למדינה היפה שלנו
Tuesday's day of disruption came after the Israeli parliament passed the first of 3 votes on a bill to remove the power of the Supreme Court to review ministers' decisions. 2 more votes are expected before the end of the month, before it becomes law.
The Niemen River separates Lithuania from the Kaliningrad region, an enclave of the Russian Federation. Geopolitical tensions fueled by Russia's war in Ukraine have forced Lithuania to strengthen its border controls. This bridge, which is the state border, is closed to car traffic. Some Lithuanians have cut themselves off from their Russian neighbours, but others continue to take this route, now on foot. The potential for Russian provocation during the NATO summit taking place in the capital Vilnius means the state borders are even more heavily guarded.
We raised our border surveillance up to the maximum level. In fact, we have introduced a number of measures at the border, starting from the deployment of additional staff, also introducing technical system cooperation with our partners at the national level as well as international.
Lithuania's southeastern border with Belarus, a popular migration route, has also seen an increase in cautionary measures. Last year, only 34 asylum applications were accepted.
That basically shows that no individual assessment is performed on the border.
Ahmed from Iraq made several requests before his arguments were eventually recognised and he was granted asylum in Lithuania.
My country is very dangerous. I tried 3 times to come to Lithuania, but police catch me and they take me to come back to Minsk.
Activists, however, argue that the true number of border crossings is likely much higher.
Government always claims that it stopped migration, but the fact is that they only announce the numbers of people who are pushed back, but we don't know success stories. Really see that people are still going.
The threat of provocations, whether in days of NATO talks or after, is present, and Europe's eastern borders remain on alert. Magdalena Hodownik for Euronews from Vilnius.
The EU's NATO restoration law survives a dramatic vote in the European Parliament, even if by a razor-thin margin.
And it is adopted.
The result was approved with 336 votes in favour, 300 against and 13 abstentions, and was celebrated by progressive lawmakers.
Esta ley es buena incluso para los que han votado en contra. Así que espero que se puedan alegrar después de este voto. Y quiero agradecer especialmente a los científicos y a los jóvenes, porque son ellos los que nos han demostrado y convencido de que teníamos que tener esta ley y la vamos a tener.
Right-wing groups fiercely opposed the bill and had tried to kill it, saying that it could put at risk the survival of European farmers and fishermen. Environmentalists on the other side came out in full force, though, fighting for what they say will restore the EU's degraded ecosystems. The result is a lifeline for Europe's climate ambitions, which in recent months have become a target of sustained attack from the right as EU elections approach in June next year. The bill will now go back to the European Parliament's Environment Committee.
Czech-born writer Milan Kundera has died at the age of 94. He was born in 1929 in then Czechoslovakia, but considered himself a French writer. He wrote 10 novels, 3 poetry collections, a short story collection, and many essays. His literary works are known for their deep philosophical themes, political allusions, and heartrending plots. Kundera's most famous work, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, was adapted into a film in 1988. He settled in France in 1979 after being excluded from the Czechoslovakian Communist Party. He received French citizenship in 1981. Music is a universal language that reaches the hearts of everyone, regardless of nationality or culture. Since 1997 in Sarajevo, the Roads of Friendship project has been closely intertwined with the Ravenna Festival, bringing a message of peace and unity between cultures through the work of the renowned conductor Riccardo Muti. This year, the 2 famous archaeological sites of Pompeii in Italy and Jerash in Jordan serve as a background to the tale of thousands of Syrian people forced to live in refugee camps in their neighboring country. For Muti, music is the highest form of politics and can bring people together for the purest embrace, a hug.
Aprire le braccia è fatto di 2 movimenti. Il primo, aprire per accogliere. Il secondo movimento è di stringere. Non dice accogli e poi dopo apri le braccia, lo fai cadere e dici adesso arrangiati.
Music is a word language. So although we don't speak like other language like Italian, but we have the music in common between us. Having the Italians musician and Jordanian playing together, this is like we're learning from each other.
Here, classical meets traditional Syrian music, and at the heart of it are these songs of pain.
È un brano che parla delle persone dimenticate, le persone che hanno subito una situazione di guerra, di miseria e sono state dimenticate. Quindi noi portiamo le voci di queste persone stasera.
Nel 2022 Euronews ha seguito le vie dell'amicizia e il maestro Riccardo Muti nel suo splendido concerto al sito archeologico di Paestum, non lontano da Pompei, in onore del popolo siriano costretto alla diaspora in Giordania a causa della guerra. 3 anni dopo, e a distanza di pochi giorni dai concerti di Ravenna e Gerash, la Pompei d'Oriente, la musica potente delle vie dell'amicizia risuona ancora nel grande teatro dell'antica Pompei.
Come noi stiamo vedendo con l'orchestra Cherubini, che convive con elementi musicisti dei Giordani nel senso dell'armonia, del raggiungere l'armonia e la bellezza. Noi ci troviamo poi ad essere tutti fratelli. Ecco il nostro compito.